So if this move is the plough, then what are we calling this move that Magnus plays on move 1 in this titled Tuesday game? I don't know, the semi-plough, the half plough, the mini plough. Either way, he pushes the pawn only one square, a horrendous opening. It's officially called the Clemens opening or Clements. Now after this, his opponent goes e5, very principled. His opponent's a youngster, 15 years old, Arthur DeWinter. There's a great name, right? Sounds like it's out of Downton Abbey or Jane Eyre or something. And he's only a FIDE master, but a very strong blitz player. But Magnus giving no respect out here. He goes knight f3. This is played yesterday, 19th of December, early titled Tuesday. We get e4, taking the provocation. Does Magnus centralise his knight? Well, no. He backpedals it to this horrendous square on h2. That is a dim knight, and I had to cover this game. Shades of the game he played against Hikaru with black in the same tournament. Covered that one yesterday, and I'll link it at the end. Now what to do from here? Well, d5, played by Magnus's opponent, Arthur DeWinter. He's playing principally, and finally Magnus fights for the centre here with pawn d3. So the knight develops into the game, and now g4 from Magnus. He's still not developing pieces. He loves breaking the rules in these blitz games. Here comes Gary, the debt collector, looking to kick this knight. And fun fact, by the way, there hasn't been a kid named Gary in the UK since 1992. Garys are dying out. If you know a Gary, give him a hug this Christmas. Now h6 is played. It stops the pawn advancing. We get bishop g2. Finally some standard development. Bishop d6 played, knight c3 from Magnus, and now this position's amazing. You know, the computer loves it for black, but only if you find this insane looking move. The Silicon Overlord sees everything, 1,000 eyes. Now how is this possibly any good? Bishop takes, right? Well no, then you take here, rook takes, d4. You're losing a piece. What the hell, where did that come from? And if you don't take with the bishop, you take with the pawn, well now you've shattered the king and it's forced here and the structure's a mess. So even though you're a pawn down, doing great. But this is the thing, Magnus gives half chances, but they're not easy to find. His opponent does this, takes the knight immediately. Why would you give that great bishop? Well, the computer is not a fan, but you've dragged the rook up and Magnus can now never castle in that direction. So queen d6, don't blunder your rook here. It is retreated by Magnus. He manages to see it. He was world champion once. Now we get takes on d3. Again, a yucky move from the engine's perspective. It just wanted to carry on developing, maintain that center. And after Magnus recaptures, look at that. He's like a pawn to the good, over a pawn. The computer loves his position. But things get interesting. Now we don't see c6. Then you run into e4. It's double-edged. Could have been played. But instead bishop e6 played, covering the pawn in a different manner. And now best here is just bishop e3, a3, some steady development. But Magnus has got his attacking shoes on. He plows forward with the e-pawn now, attacking the center, looking to make it crumble. And knight c6 was played in response, a fantastic move. Developing and setting a trap. If you take here, looks brilliant to win a piece. Well, now this is the trick. Knight b4. And you can't go queen d4 to stay with this pawn, or you run into this check here. If queen c4, I never looked at this line, but okay, you can simply be capturing that pawn. There's too many pieces attacking it. So, what does Magnus do? Well, knight b5, his starting move. The queen drops back to e7, and now bishop f4. So he's hitting that c7 point. But he has made an error because black can take on e4, which was played, and Magnus is in some trouble because if you capture this pawn here with check, well, black can give up the queen, bishop recaptures, and after you take this one, you're a minor piece ahead as the black player. And if instead you go bishop recaptures, well, this is too much. Black can castle, you can even give a pawn, but there's rooks coming to the d file. You've just opened the e file to your own king, knights on the bishop, you know, you don't really want to give your bishop pair, it's horrendous. So Magnus doesn't touch it, doesn't take here, he goes queen to a3. There's a strange looking move, but he wants to decoy this one away so that he can crash through here. Now you can take, it's a playable variation, or knight b4, top engine way to play, counter attack on c2, but neither move played. Knight d5 on the board, very logical idea, hit this bishop, defend c7, but guess what? The black pieces are overloaded here. Magnus plays a move, looks impossible, he crashes through on c7 with check. Now what's this all about? Because that one is captured. Well, this is the trick. Now you take the queens off, then you're going to recapture. But black recaptures in the wrong way here. You should take with the king. Why? Because after knight takes, bishop takes, rook c8, now Magnus has this move available of bishop e5. If that knight was still on c6, the bishop couldn't come there. Then the bishop would have to go to g3. Then you could go knight b4. Great counter attack here. If c3 from white, then your knight hops here. So actually black would be doing strongly there, about a pawn to the good. But this one was played. Now Magnus gets the counter attack. f6 played. You don't want this one to cave in. The bishop drops to d4. Yes, this rook now takes, but Magnus has calculated like an engine here. He takes on e4. He's seen that he can win back a central pawn, walk into rook c4, but cover one of these snipers with the cannon from d1. We've just renamed all the pieces today, right? Now again, looks like you're in a world of pain after knight c6. Bishop attacked twice. Wherever it retreats, then this one's going to drop. But here's the Zwischenzug. You flick in the check. After blocks, chop these ones off, then retreat the bishop. Full harmony once again for Magnus. This one spraying in both directions, dominating this knight, and the game is just level now. Rook d8, king e2, we see check, driving the king to f3, now rook e7, black doing everything right here, but down on the clock, and Magnus is gonna try and squeeze blood out of this stone. So we get rook d5 activating, a6 covering that pawn, the rooks double, b4 now played, captures, knight recaptures, and rook a5. Magnus probing like a surgeon here, doing some heart surgery on the black pieces. Rook e6 played, covers the a6 pawn, rook d7 check, the king driven up the board, now rook b7, the knight on b4 hit, and knight c6 played. This Arthur DeWinter is a tricky customer. He's looking for a tactic of rook takes here, and then you can flick in this one, take with check, clear these squares for the knight to hop to, then you land the check, king goes, pick up a rook, you're a knight ahead. So the pawn untouchable. Magnus doesn't do it. He centralizes once more. Knight e5 check played anyway, but it wasn't the best. You know, running back a move, rook e7 stronger. This is a monster piece. But this one was played low on time. Magnus snaps it off, pawn recaptures, and then he lands a double kebab on the 7th rank here, looking to smash open the black king. This is why he killed the knight, and what to do. e4 the strongest move, but you still end up a pawn down. Black goes for this check, king g3, and now loses on time. But it's lost on the board anyway, right? g7's collapsing. Magnus is about 3.5 pawns to the good, way up on the clock. So just a fun little game there. And if you want to see another variation very similar to this one, played against Hikaru in the same tournament, then check out the video on screen. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you soon.